I want to talk today about the Every Person Plan in Kansas City and how that we've divided the regions of the city into 5 different regions in order that our prayer would be answered, that every single person who lives in Kansas City would have multiple opportunities to hear the good news of Jesus from a friend. And to do that, we believe it has to be a localized effort. It's wonderful to have efforts that go across the city. Like I lead a project where people sign up to become a light in their neighborhood, and we're keeping track of how many lights there are in the city. I think 3,455, the latest number. But you know where it really matters? It matters in that particular neighborhood where that light lives, or in the region of the city where people work together. So we're talking today about Region 3, and Joel McGill from All America. By the way, my name is Gary Kendall. I lead Love KC. We're working together to kind of come up underneath and convene these regions. So Joel, let's talk about Region 3. What's happening in Region 3?
Well, we have for the last, it's been a year and a half now, just building a lot of relationship. We've been getting together on Zoom. We've been connecting in person. We've been doing a lot to just get a handle of who is on mission already in Region 3.
Oh, and by the way, where is Region 3?
Region 3 is Southeast Kansas City. I have to change that. I keep telling people, hey, come to Region 3 meeting, and they have no reference what that is. So it's Southeast Kansas City. We have been working on, again, just building relationship. There's been such a difficult season, so much isolation. Yeah. And so just building trust, building relationship, getting together on a regular basis, and just leaning in together for what we believe God's wanting to do in Southeast KC.
Yeah, and I often hear you talk about 2 other pieces of this. One are finish lines, and the other are the spears. So let's start with finish lines.
Yeah, so the idea is to take a geographical space, it could be a zip code or a neighborhood, and say, let's see every single person in Terrace Lakes, in St. Catharines, be prayed for by name, be shown an act of compassion and justice to get them the gospel, the Bible, and a Christian community. These 5, which pretty much everybody I know would say, okay, those are all good. We're never going to get them to agree on how to do all 5, but we can get them to agree that those 5 are good for people who don't know God, and let's go after every person. So that's what we've been doing for the last, about a year or so, been working on getting common outcome, common metrics. So when we say we're going to reach, and we are, Region 3, we have a shared understanding of what that could mean.
Awesome. So yeah, we can agree on strategies, and a church might want one tactic versus another. But we could agree on the strategy. Loving your neighbor is a good thing.
That's right.
And then what about the spears?
Well, I think this is going to be a key part of the success of the strategy is we have to mobilize the entire body. So we have Christian business people in Region 3 that have a heart for the Great Commission, and they have more than resources to contribute towards that. They can solve problems. They can be a part of it. There are people engaged in the civic space. There are people dealing with family issues all throughout this area. So when we think about, okay, who needs to be at the table, we're not just thinking about the finish lines. We're thinking about who has God already placed in all these categories of society, and how do we get them at the table, because they have a different perspective. Right. If you're working in education, you have a different perspective, a valuable perspective on what is happening in our schools and with our communities in that space, and we need those voices. So it's really about getting the right people around the table, and yes, having pastors, yes, having ministry leaders, but really going deeper to where we see the whole body engaged.
Yeah. Absolutely. They have different life experience, different spiritual gifts, and then when they bring those to the table, then it just adds something extra that we don't have if we don't include the whole body. So Joel, we're gonna move on to some other regions, but what is like the most exciting thing that's happened in this region?
Well, we are beginning to convene. So we are working on 2 convenings a year to get into a rhythm to where the family is coming together, not for us to just sell them things, but that we really build relationship and we start to bridge silos, hear from one another about what we're working on, and get a handle of what's already going on in Region 3. So we have that coming up real soon. We have a business leaders info meeting where we're really wanting to make sure the business leaders know that they're welcome and that they have a role to play. And then we have a gathering, which we're doing a round table where we're going to get to hear from one another. And the goal is, this is just the beginning, that over the next 15, 20 years is what I'm saying, that this will be normal where we are coming together, hearing from one another, seeing one another, and together seeing what God is doing in this space and how we can get involved in it.
Region 3, Southeast Kansas City, really has, we're their first to launch and really has made the most progress. So thank you for leading the way, Joel.
Just a bunch of mistakes we made. So we made a ton, and hopefully you don't have to make the same ones we did, and we did make a lot. But again, we're excited about what God is doing across Kansas City, because really the regions are just a way to organize. Right. But at the end of the day, God has called the Church of Kansas City to be on mission together, and I'm excited to be on it with you.
Absolutely.